Hey everybody, I guess finally I'll do an actual, sit down, let's talk about EternalCon. Uh, I'm gonna admit it was a little bit smaller than I expected, but a lot more vendors than I expected. I expected a lot less vendors, more panels. It was quite crowded, so there were a lot of people. So I guess just con-wise it seemed small, but for what it was and how many people there were, it was pretty packed. I don't think they could fit many more people in it. There were plenty of things to do and see. Unfortunately, since I was by myself and I really wasn't planning to do much, and I didn't have a lot of money to spend, I kind of wandered quite a bit around. Plenty of artists, plenty of dealers. I think it was dealers at the entire event, except for, which is the first floor was all dealers. First floor, all dealers and the artist alley. Then the second floor was mostly all guests and some vendors, and then the third floor was like a couple of vendors, but mostly like tables for organizations and actual people, like Empire and Saber Guild, New York Jedi, Long Island Ghostbusters, and a couple of cosplayers. I did enjoy it. It was a lot of fun. I got to hang out with quite a few friends. I didn't plan on meeting up with anybody. I didn't plan on hanging out with anybody, but I ran into people when they had the cosplay parade, which is they just got everyone in costume and paraded them around. I saw a couple friends there. I ran into a friend of a friend. He's involved with the Long Island Ghostbusters, the New York Ghostbusters, I think, New York Ghostbusters, and he was in cosplay. And then I ran into another group of friends who were cosplaying as Gotham villains, Harley Quinn, Joker, Catwoman, Poison Ivy, and Bane, and they ended up winning Saturday's cosplay contest. They ended up winning Best Group. Congrats, guys. And then towards the end of the day, I was doing the upstairs had the art show, which was just a few artists selling major pieces, not like, the $5 pieces of art, but this was like $1,000 art, a couple $100. I ended up running into Pirate Chris up there. He wasn't planning on coming, but one of his friends had art for sale, so he came. So I hung out with him for like an hour before we all left. But it was pretty cool. Maybe next year I'll go again, just for the sake of taking pictures, because I would have liked to have taken more pictures, but since I was in costume and I wasn't carrying a bag with me, it was really hard to do photography while in costume and not being able to really use my hands very well. So maybe next year I'll do more, and I'll go for both days, because there was more stuff going on Sunday than there was on Saturday, so I missed out on a lot of that stuff. But I think it was pretty good for what it was. It's a small, quaint hometown convention. I think it was more like just like a fair event rather than a convention. But it was still a lot of fun, and it was cute. So I'll probably come back I'll probably try and go back next year if I don't have too many plans. But I got way too many cons I want to do next year, so this is something that would be fun for like a day or so. But definitely, I would also want to go back to the Cradle of Aviation, because I've never been there before. I've lived on Long Island. I lived 20 minutes away for my whole life. And I went to school at Nassau Community College, which is right next door, and yet I've never been to the Cradle of Aviation. So I'm gonna have to do that sometime soon. My dad wants to do it, because he likes taking my nephews and my cousins. So I guess I'll have to go one day. But for what it was fun. And I think it's definitely, if you're gonna go and check it out, at least try it for a day. It's not that bad. The price-wise is good. I do hear that was a problem with registration. If you pre-registered, you actually waited on a longer line than if you were paying for at door. From what I saw, because I paid at door because I didn't know if I was going to be going. I ended up deciding last minute because I had the day off. They had more booths open handling for at door than for people who were picking up for pre-registration. So I think they had 2 people working the pre-registration line, but they had like 6 people working the at door. So I heard some people were waiting like an hour and a half to 2 hours to get in on the pre-registration line. But I think I waited, and I got there at like 9:30, so I was in by 10:30. So, but people I heard took less time. So yeah, that was EternalCon. Good job, guys. We'll do the usual rating, scale of 1 to 10, 1 being horrible, 10 being awesome, and why. I would definitely give it a 7.5. It wasn't as spectacular, but like I said, I didn't do a lot. I was cosplaying. I wasn't planning on doing a lot. I wasn't planning on spending money. I really couldn't do much on photography. And also, a good portion of my morning, afternoon was spent waiting in line to get pictures and autographs with the Power Rangers. Which, that was mostly why it's a 7.5, because it was awesome. I got to meet Austin St. John, the original Red Ranger, David Yost, the original Blue Ranger, Walter Manion Jones, the original Black Ranger. He was there, but I've met him at a DragonCon. Karen Ashley, who was the second Yellow Ranger, she was there as well. I met her at DragonCon a couple years ago. And then David Fielding, Zordon, was there. Zordon. And Vernon Wells, who played oh my god, why can I never say the Rancic, from the villain from Time Force, was there. And then I got to meet and talk to China, the former WWE, I still call it WWF, wrestler, China, the Ninth Wonder of the World. She was there. I got to talk to her for a few minutes because I've recently watched some wrestling and was horrified at some of the changes that WWE has made to wrestling. I'll rant about that another time. So it was kind of cool. If I had gone Sunday, I would have gotten a chance to see Mick Foley. That would have been awesome. Mick Foley would have been awesome. But those are mainly the reasons I definitely got a 7.5. If I probably had a little more time to do some other stuff like the photography and hanging out with maybe someone to hang out with the whole day instead of just wandering by myself, probably would have been closer to a 9. So, but like I said, I probably will go next year, depending on time constraints, because who knows what plans will be for next year. But it was definitely a good job. Good job, guys, and I'll see you guys around.